From our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Residents of a northwest aged care home were left without an on-site registered nurse again on Monday night. The union says the situation led to one medical emergency being left untreated for 7 hours. Southern Cross Care admits it's a struggle finding nurses.
Some of our most vulnerable left without high-level care. On Monday night at Southern Cross Care's Yarrandoo facility, there was no enrolled or registered nurse on site from 10 p.m. until 5 a.m.
One resident had a serious medical condition, was bleeding, and that there wasn't a nurse on hand to treat that patient. And it meant that when a nurse did turn up, that an ambulance was called.
While the lack of a nurse would restrict all care at the home, it also means medicines can't be administered to residents. CEO Robin Boyd says unplanned leave forced the situation, but claims the residents' care was still handled appropriately.
In our view, no one was at risk. The on-call service worked as it should, and there wasn't an issue.
It's not the first time claims of understaffing have been made.
We are seeing throughout the Southern Cross Care facilities across the state that there is understaffing.
Aged care reform is on the way. From July 1, facilities will be required to have a registered nurse on site at all times. Advocates say the move will ensure high-quality resident care.
But they are really important for pain management, in palliative care, in monitoring someone's clinical condition, but also knowing when someone does need to go to hospital.
The challenge, finding them.
At the moment, we are juggling, not just Southern Cross Care, the whole sector, in terms of accessing on-site registered nurses to the level we need and our residents expect.
Help wanted to ensure care for our most vulnerable. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A man has been charged with attempted murder after a woman allegedly received wounds during an altercation in Penguin on Tuesday night. It happened on South Road, with the man being known to the woman. The 54-year-old appeared in the Devonport Magistrates Court and was remanded in custody. The federal government has announced a new partnership which it hopes will alleviate Tasmania's high demand for affordable housing. Housing Choices is aiming to build more than 180 homes for vulnerable residents, easing pressure on the rental market.
A boost to help more people into affordable housing. The National Housing Finance and Investment Corporation providing Housing Choices Tasmania with $33 million to finance 181 affordable houses across the states.
What we want to see more of is working in a way with community housing providers and of course with other tiers of government to get more homes on the ground more quickly.
Our role is essentially to provide long-term cheap finance and to fill a gap in the market that is not currently fulfilled.
The loan also supports the state government's community housing goal of building 1,000 new homes by the end of this year. Housing Minister Guy Barnett says he supports the initiative, with the state government already providing close to $25 million in funding.
As Paul Keating said, how did we get to a point where a nation like Australia couldn't house its own people? Because that's where we've got to.
As we know, we've got in Tasmania, sadly, over 4,500 families or singles on the wait list.
The company already has a portfolio of over 2,000 properties across the states, helping vulnerable Tasmanians get accommodation. With no end in sight to Tasmania's rental crisis, the federal government hopes more projects like what was announced today will be a factor in reducing demand.
What we want to do is get as many homes on the ground as quickly as we can, but they of course need to be the right homes in the right places.
We're excited, thrilled, but the people who will live in these dwellings are the people we most care about.
Mark Zita, 7 Tasmania News.
Those craving good food, drink and entertainment are rolling into Launceston City Park for the first night of this year's Festivale. Mark Zeta has been along to the event. Mark, what's the vibe like?
Good evening, Kim. Yes, it's absolutely buzzing here at City Park in Launceston, and that's despite the threat of rain this afternoon. The event is sold out for the entire weekend, so commiseration to our viewers who missed out on tickets. Entertainment-wise, this year's lineup is a mix of well-known performers and local acts. Tonight there'll be plenty of white noise, with the Living End and the Super Jesus headlining the main stage. It wouldn't be Festivale without some spectacular food and drinks. More than 120 stall holders setting up shop with 6 beverage masterclasses held this weekend. Now, the Bureau has predicted showers again tomorrow, however only in the morning before clearing up on Sunday, so it should be nice conditions for those attendees this weekend. Kim?
Thank you very much, Mark. Mark Zeta there from City Park in Launceston. The state government has accused the opposition of being misleading over the availability of TASTAFE courses. Labor's education spokesperson says some courses are not available due to a lack of teachers. 71-year-old Gil Burns recently inquired about a welding course.
And she said, "We'll get back to you, there's no teachers to teach the course." I mean, why show it on TV if it isn't available?
Not having skilled workers is holding our economy back. I'd like to see this Liberal government doing more to find TASTAFE teachers.
The state government says the availability of welding and metal trades courses haven't been affected and multiple courses will run this year. Well, preparations for Tasmania's first Ironman event are well underway in the state's capital. Hot favourites have opened up on their intense training ahead of the race as competitors flock from across the globe to tackle the tough circuit.
Taking out the inaugural Ironman title in his home state would be the perfect ending for local Olympian Jake Birtwistle.
Yeah, it would be really special to have a great result here, so I'll definitely be doing all I can for that to happen, and we just have to wait and see on Sunday.
Prepared to give it a red-hot crack, multiple-time champion Ellie Salthouse is poised to take out the women's top gong.
I come to race and I come to win, so at the end of the day it doesn't really change my race plan whether I'm the favourite or not. I always approach each race with the same mentality.
Ready for a challenge, weeks of training has prepared their bodies for an uphill battle.
It's definitely tough. I haven't been out and ridden the course yet, but I've definitely heard a lot of things about it, and yeah, I guess that's part of the beauty of being in Tasmania. It's hilly everywhere you go.
They'll be tested against some of the nation and world's best triathletes for an epic swim, ride and run race like never before in Tasmania.
We've got over 30 countries being represented, highest obviously being Australia. We've got New Zealand, we've got Great Britain, and some of the Asian countries like Malaysia and Singapore as well.
The community is warned to brace for changed traffic conditions on Sunday, with several roads and bike paths closed off to the public to allow for the event to take place.
There's definitely some impact out there with the closures, but there are alternate routes available for people to move around.
Locals are encouraged to check out the Ironman website for further information. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, it might be summer in Tasmania, but a cold snap has hit the state, with the Bureau of Meteorology saying temperatures are much more typical of August than early February. A strong cold front sweeping across much of southeastern Australia is to blame.
And this is bringing some very cold air mass, which is bringing showers, hail, thunder and even alpine snow through parts of Tasmania, Victoria, South Australia and southern parts of New South Wales.
Fresh and gusty winds are expected in the south tomorrow, with showers across most of the state before summer temperatures return next week. And Jackie Harvey will have more later in the bulletin. Some of Tasmania's newest doctors have been recognised for their efforts over the past 12 months. Registrar Dr Gareth Jones was named Training Specialist of the Year. Dr Dallas Platt was awarded RMO of the Year, and Dr Lewis Johnston took out Intern of the Year. After a challenging year of learning, they say the win makes their studies worth it.
It's a really good reminder that everything that we've been working towards has made a really good impact, for the patients.
It's nice to be noted by our other peers and juniors, and all the hard work really feels like it's paid off.
The awards were voted on by fellow junior doctors.
In developing news tonight, the Jack Jumpers have suffered a blow, with Rashad Kelly ruled out of tomorrow's must-win clash against Illawarra due to illness. The team flew out this morning, with the match also a special one for the vice-captain, who is set to mark a major milestone.
A date with destiny awaits the Jack Jumpers. Their NBL finals ticket can be secured with a victory over the Hawks tomorrow. But despite being dead last, Illawarra isn't being taken lightly.
They're playing great, and I expect them to do the same thing against us in their building.
Everyone knows this league's so tough and so tight, and especially as it comes down to the point at the end of the year, you've got to try and win them all.
Sitting fourth, they could still miss the playoffs depending on results. The coach, though, won't have the calculator out.
I have no idea what anyone else is doing. I really don't care what anyone else is doing. I'm not that smart to go through all the scenarios.
What's the message to the group tomorrow?
Be yourselves and compete.
Saturday's match a big one for the vice-captain, who notches up game 250. He's played for 5 NBL sides and the Boomers, but age at 97 rates his 2 years in Tassie, including Sunday's win over the Wildcats among his highlights.
The noise in that stadium, the passion that the players showed, the passion that Scott had after the game, that's all real, and it's something I hold dear.
Weeks also looking towards game 300.
The body's, felt better than it has in probably the last 5 years. Did a lot of work this off-season.
Continues to obviously do all the little things that are needed to help our group on and off the floor. He's just a great ambassador.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
In the WNCL, Tasmania has been forced to make changes ahead of a season-defining double-header next week. Heather Graham is out of the squad that's been named to take on South Australia with the all-rounder in South Africa for the T20 World Cup. She's been replaced by Amy Smith, who is back from the Under-19 World Cup. The matches will be played on Monday and Wednesday at Blunston Arena. After wet weather washed out the Burnie International yesterday, competitors returned to the court for today's quarterfinals. Newly crowned Australian Open men's doubles champion Rinky Hijikata continuing his winning streak, defeating fellow Aussie James McCabe 7-5, 6-2. In the day's other matches, Mark Polman served up the heat with a 2-set win against Adam Walton, while top seed James Duckworth is into the semis. Launceston Silverdome was sizzling last night with another pre-season Super Netball clash between the Collingwood Magpies and Queensland Firebirds. With a long-standing history between the two sides, it was a tough tussle on the court.
What a game. We always love coming over to Tassie first and foremost. It's just nice to be able to get out on court with the girls. They've been working really hard through this last month and they can actually see that out on court with them, and I think for us it's just about building on those combinations all the way through the court.
There were some big late learnings for the Pies, which saw the Firebirds soar to a 1-point victory. And tonight's Friday flashback is to when Devonport hosted its first and only one-day international. On this day in 1987, the likes of Mike Gatting and Ian Botham took on Viv Richards and Courtney Walsh when England faced the West Indies on the coast.
Devonport Oval looked a treat for its moment in the cricket world sun. A huge television setup arrived with 11 cameras and 60 staff needed on the ground to beam the pictures around the globe. Interest was huge, either for a prized autograph or simply a glimpse of the West Indies golden era warming up in the local nets. While England touched down coming off a loss to Australia and needing a win to stay alive in the Tri-Series Cup.
We haven't played so well in the last couple of games, so really for us it's a question of we got one more game, and if we don't win that, then we're off home.
The start wasn't good for the Poms. Ian Botham went in single figures, caught by Richie Richardson off the bowling of Tony Gray. But Alan Lamb set about steering the ship for England, belting a scorcher to warm up the coastal crowd.
Very, very high, over the ropes for 6.
Suddenly, nothing was going right for the Windies, summed up best when Roger Harper misjudged a throw and was hit in the jaw. And it only got worse when Chris Broad, dad of current player Stuart Broad, made it to 50.
So Broad's 50 in 110 balls.
He was eventually caught behind for 76 before Viv Richards pulled off one of the best run-outs you're likely to see, punishing some sloppy running.
The great Viv Richards gets through the throw-out, hits the middle stump and Foster run out.
Chasing England's 177, the Windies also had a bad start. Richie Richardson caught behind for 2. Both of them chimed in, claiming Thelston Payne and playing up to the expats in the crowd. He then clean bowled Richards for 1, and the game was only heading one way. A late Windies collapse sealed their fate as they fell 29 runs short, leaving nothing but smiles for the boys in blue and their fans in the crowd. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
And that wraps up Friday night sport. Kim?
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening. 21 in Hobart today, Launceston 19, 18 across Devonport and Burnie, 21 about Grove and Ouse, Flinders Island 17 and 19 in Strawn. On the close-up, clear skies across most of Tasmania with cloud increasing through the afternoon. Further out, thunderstorms are seen over the tropical north with low cloud along the coast of WA. Tomorrow shows a low-pressure system passing the south coast of Tasmania, followed by a strong southwesterly airstream. North to northwesterly winds tomorrow reaching 15 to 25 knots about the east and up to 35 knots in the southeast. Swells up to 5 metres in the west and south and up to 3 metres in the north. A gale warning is current across the far northwest coast, central north, Flinders Island, east coast and the west coast, and a strong wind warning for the Derwent Estuary, Frederick Henry Bay, Storm Bay, Central Plateau Lakes, Bank Strait, Franklin Sound and the upper east coast. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart 18, showers across Maydena and Oatlands. In the north, Launceston a shower or two, 20 in Devonport, Lyowini 11. Burnie tomorrow a shower or two and becoming windy, 17 across Strawn and Marrawar. A shower or two in St Helens and 19 about Swansea and Orford. The UV forecast is very high 9s across the state. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now: Sunday, fine apart from showers about the west and far south. Monday, showers across the west and far south, fine elsewhere. And Tuesday, light showers about the west, fine elsewhere. Capital cities 38 and partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow. Adelaide 21 and showers in Cairns. And currently Hobart mostly cloudy and 18, Launceston 17 and Devonport mostly sunny and 16. That's all for weather, Kim.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Have a great weekend. And that is all your news for now. Join Lou over the weekend. For now, it's good.